What's up, fishing fans? Nick Whittemore here. Just going to do a quick video on how I do my pre-tournament check, okay? I fish the BFLs through as a co-angler right now, just graduating college, trying to work my way up through the ranks through that, okay? So with the BFLs, they're one-day tournaments, so I don't really have to do a whole lot of prep like I would if I was fishing the tour as a co-angler or even the Rayovacs as a co-angler or as a pro on either one of those, because those are 3 and even 4-day tournaments, okay? Or even two, 3, and 4-day tournaments, okay? So you got to think about that as you'd multiply this by however many, this is just for a one-day tournament, okay? So what I like to do, especially in the winter months, the beginning of the season, February, March, I'll really watch the weather a lot because you're waiting on those water temps to heat up to where you know what's good, okay? Me, I grew up in Arkansas fishing the river. So flipping stuff, I'm a bank beater. I love to flip. So whenever the water temps gets good and they're up spawning, that is my time. I'm like, oh man, I can catch them. Winter, I'm not that great. I'm getting better at it though. So I like to check the weather. I have an app on my iPad that I'll check the weather up to 10 days before my tournament and make sure, oh, this is what it's doing, this is what it's doing. Because especially in the summer months when it's really hot and then you have a cool down, you don't know if that cold front's coming through or a front is coming through or anything like that. So you need to make sure you check that just to be prepared, especially as a co-angler, all right? Me also, I'll go on and check any articles, all right? So like this year, I had Sam Rayburn about a week or two ago, which encouraged me to make this video because I was doing an equipment check with that. And so I went to FLW and the Rayovac was there at the beginning of April, okay? So what I did was I went and I read the articles and everything they had on that to see what it was. The lake was 5 foot high and they were up flipping bushes with beavers and Senko. So, I was kind of prepared with that. Also, I'll do that. I'll read any kind of articles, even from a year after, a year around that same time, a year before. So I'll do my research in that range. I'll go on, look up lake reports and see if anybody's writing anything about the lake at the point in time. Here's what they're doing. This is what they're not doing. These are the colors they seem to be liking, that type of stuff, okay? Well, when it comes into my equipment, what I like to do is I like to go through and reorganize my tackle box. Make sure I know where everything is. Make sure I have everything in there that I'm going to need, okay? From my pliers to Senkos, to swim baits, to jigs, to trailers, to my terminal tackle, weights and hooks and that type of stuff, okay? So a lot of that stuff I go through and make sure I have everything I'm going to need in my tackle box and I know where it's at, so I'm not wasting a lot of time looking for something, all right? So I can jump down there, get it, and get on it, all right? Now when it comes down to my equipment, my rods and my reels, okay? So this is just one of my reels I have. Yeah, it's a Quantum Code. It's a little bit older, kind of beat up a little bit, all right? But what I like to do is I like to go through, make sure everything's running right, make sure my buttons are clicking, make sure everything's working. If I have line on there, I'll check my my cast to make sure it's working right. And the big thing is this last tournament, which really encouraged me to do, is this little knob right here. I hope you can see it. I was actually missing this little knob on one of my reels. Okay, so I had to scramble around, and I luckily found it. All right, but that was a big spot of it. Like I wouldn't be able to fish with this if I was missing that. All right, I was missing a ball bearing in there and everything. So that's why it's always good to go through your equipment and make sure you're not missing anything like that. All right, you don't want to get out there because we already have 4 or 5 rod and reel combos. You don't want to get out there and realize, oh crap, now I only have 4 instead of 5. All right, especially if you rigged up what you really think is going to be biting on that reel, okay? So do that, check your equipment, make sure everything's lubed up and geared up and everything's ready to go, all right? If I have line on these, I'll make sure I have enough line for what I'm throwing, okay? But also I'll make sure that the line's not tangled, all right? That's a big thing. Is me, I like to pond hop, so I'm jumping here, jumping there, and you get some professional overcast from time to time, and you forget, oh, I need to go change that, but you forget to. So I go through and make sure all my line's good and everything like that, all right? Sometimes if it's been a few months and I've fished a few different tournaments with it and it's been a few months, I'll actually reline the whole thing, all right? So when it comes down to my rods and my reels, or my rods, I was right the first time. So I check all my eyelids on here. I like to go through and make sure they're all there, they're all working right, and I'm not missing any, okay? So a lot of them, some of them you won't pay attention to, especially since you're transporting these rods and not really safe. That was that tip, okay? Make sure you got your tip on there. And you just go through and make sure everything's working right, all right? And then whenever I go to put the reel on there, I'll make sure it's tied down tight, okay? I've had tournaments where I've set the hook into a good one, and then I almost lost my reel because it popped off, okay? So just make sure you tie your reel on real tight right there, and everything's good to go, all right, with that. Also, some other tips that I'll do is I'll also go through and I'll retie all my baits, swim jigs, Texas rigs, all that fun stuff. I like to retie them because I do pond hop a lot, and out flipping bushes and you're running it through and you scar up your line. So I like to get fresh line, make sure my knots on there tight. Don't want to get out there and get a nice 3-4 pounder on and they break you off because you didn't retie. So I'll make sure I'll retie everything, usually the night before the tournament. All right, so those are my tips. Check the weather, check lake reports and past articles, okay? Check all your equipment, make sure everything's functioning right and running right and all your lines good, and retie your baits, all right? Hope this helps you out with any tournament you do. Check me out, subscribe to my page. All right, also check out my good buddy Cody Kelly Fishing, Facebook, Twitter, and also on here. He has some great things going this year with Arkansas Special Olympics. So I hope this helps you out. Good luck and tight lines.